notice that the media doesn't attend rural things. You only exist in the townships and the urban areas. So we don't have business report in Musina. But thank you very much nonetheless for coming. And to the CEO of, I'm with the CEO of RTMC, Advocate Makhosini Msibi. I'm also with the Acting Director General, Mr. Ngwakoma Kaipea, and that man there with the navy nice suit with a yellow tie is our acting DDG at the driver's license, where we produce driver's license. The man who's responsible for all the problems is this one, Kagiso. So we have taken him and deployed him at DLCA to do this important work for us. We took him from here at RTMC. And this is our team that will also be here to explain some of the things that need to be explained. At our last briefing on the driving license card backlog, we reported that the backlog that resulted from the COVID-19 restrictions was cleared on 14 July 2022. To date, in excess of 2 million cards have been produced. Not only have we been able to reduce the turnaround time for our card production to pre-COVID levels, we have now improved on those levels. We have successfully reduced the waiting period for a driving license card from 58 working days in April 2022 to 10 working days in July 2022. We remain concerned at the high number of people who have yet to come forward to renew their driving licenses, which number currently stands at 1.2 million. The implications of this is that we have a sizable number of motorists driving without a valid driver's license on our roads. This goes against the grain of our efforts to arrest carnage on our roads. One of the biggest contributors to this carnage is driver competence. We will therefore up the ante in our law enforcement efforts in order to bring to book these wayward motorists who have no regard for the law or the safety of others on the road. We have determined that 67% of those who have not renewed their driving license are between the ages of 25 and 50 years. 15% between the age of 50 and 60 years, 70% above 60. The most important group are those 25 years and younger, who account for only 1% of drivers who have yet to renew their driving license. Our investigations have revealed that the vast majority of those who are not renewing their licenses have infringements. We are introducing a smart enrollment solution to improve the service to motorists and reduce the turnaround times at driving license testing centers. This solution has been successfully piloted at the Waterfall and Eco Park Centurion DLTCs, and the Gauteng province will be the first to go live in March 2023 before the full deployment to other provinces. I am pleased to announce that Cabinet has approved the replacement of the current driving license card with a new card with more secure design features and will comply with the international driving license standard. The current driving license card was introduced in 1998 and the production equipment was procured in the same year. The technology has become obsolete. We will publish the changes to the driving license card in the Government Gazette. This will then enable us to commence with the procurement process for the new production infrastructure in October 2022. The new card will be piloted from 1 November 2023 until 31st March 2024. The current driving license card and the equipment used to produce it will be decommissioned on the 1st of April 2024. However, there will be a 5-year period of transition from the old card to the new card. The current cards will continue to be recognized as valid license cards until 31st March 2029. I doubt I will be around that time. 2029. We had earlier committed to a review of the renewal period of the driving license card. Research on the matter was undertaken by the Road Traffic Management Corporation, which we reported to you, which also undertook a benchmarking exercise covering 64 countries. The research revealed that countries ranked above South Africa, according to the WHO, have an average driving license card validity period of 9 to 3 years, and countries ranked lower than South Africa, averaging 4.4 years. It needs to be highlighted that many of the poorer road safety ranked countries are still using paper-based driving licenses, which would explain the lower average validity period in these countries. The average driving license card validity period of almost 10 years is applicable in developed countries with much better road safety ratios than South Africa. This is an important factor in validating a longer renewal period in line with international best practice. Most of the EU countries have a 5-year validity period for heavy vehicles. We are in the process of evaluating the options at our disposal, informed by South African reality, which includes carnage on our roads, driver competence and prevalence of lifestyle diseases that influence safe driving. We have consulted with MECs on the matter and we have received the full support for the review, meaning the 5-year period will be reviewed and we will have to present it to Cabinet. So all those who have been calling for the renewal, you should be happy about the exercise we are undertaking. Whether it will be 8 years, we will extend that. Our proposals to Cabinet will entail the extension from 5 years to between 8 to 10 years a driver's license. That is what we are advocating for. Like we said, we have consulted with everybody. Once we have made a final determination on this matter, this will be communicated accordingly. Once Cabinet have undergone the process of the submission we have made in terms of the suggested renewal period. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Minister. Colleagues, I'll now hand over to yourselves for a round of questions. I'd like to request that you just state your name, your surname, as well as the media institution that you represent this morning. Questions can be posed to the Minister, the acting head of the driver's license card accounts, as well as the CEO of the RTMC, Advocate Makosini Msibi. So colleagues, I'll now hand over to you for a round of questions. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Nokhanya Ndambo from EWN. Minister, you said the waiting period for the renewal of licenses went from 58 days currently down to 10, and that's better than the pre-COVID levels. What's the difference? What's changed? What mechanisms were put in place to make sure that the turnaround time is as quick as it is now that wasn't done before? Thank you.
Very good morning. There's two underlying changes that had occurred. When we had the disruption that we had in terms of the disruption of COVID and people are not coming forward, there was a clear campaign to the public to come forward in terms of applications. However, the dedication of the DLCA staff itself must be commended. We worked flat out in terms of addressing the applications that has come through, and as a result, you'll see that 58 days is now 10 days. And we aim to continue achieving the 10 days in terms of delivering on applications. So it really has been hard work, and I think the Minister has emphasized, at least to us, the leadership, the importance of the appreciation and commending the employees of the DLCA in putting the effort in terms of meeting and improving on the delivery days of driver's licenses. Thank you.
One of the things we're going to demonstrate to you today, what you see behind here, we are rolling out what we call smart enrollment. So we're going to show you how does this thing, smart enrollment, works. You will go to DLTC, apply for your driver's license, and they will tell you that the machines are down. And then they will tell you all sorts of stories because we're using what is called LEUs. And then now what we are introducing is going to be faster and better in terms of replacing the LEUs with smart enrollment. The backlog that was there has been done away. People must come forward and get those who don't have their driver's licenses, and those who need to renew. So don't be misled by any other thing. We've got a very efficient capacity in the DLTCs here at Waterfall where we are, and also Eco Park. So these are services that are very much quicker and faster. And you can see there's a lot of people here behind me. These are taxi people. We are also assisting them here. And then Advocate Msibi will explain that particular process as we go behind me and we show you the work that we are doing. The new driver's license enable us now to kickstart a very important process, to start putting South Africa at the level of the developed nations in terms of the new driver's license card. Cabinet just approved. I told you that the delay in terms of that approval was because Cabinet had mandated us to look at the single card, smart card for South Africa. We have done a research, presented to Cabinet, and we are what we are saying and what we reported to Cabinet was that it is doable, and that process will now fall in the hands of Home Affairs to lead that particular process. But it doesn't stop us to start our own processes. So the process of the new driver's license card is going to start in earnest this year, and I've outlined the processes that are involved, including the decommissioning of the current machine. So people were making a joke about the driver's license machine. They were likening it to something like this. They say, yes, the machine. So I showed you the machine via Twitter. How efficient is that machine, which have dealt with the backlog. We have since fixed the machine, but the machine is old. It happened in 1998. We are now in 2022. So we are phasing out that is old, and with a new driver's license, which will be at the same level as the developed nations in the world. So for now, you still use the card that you've got, but we're going to be phasing it out, and hopefully that one you will enjoy. It is more or less the same as the Home Affairs identity card. There are people who are still using the old ID book, and the services there at Home Affairs are very quick. There are people who work very hard. Not everybody at Home Affairs is out of order. And Dr. Mtswaledi is cleaning. He's doing exactly what I'm doing. You see, me and Mtswaledi, we are like this. We don't open taps, you know. So when I made the joke yesterday about Mahlobo opening a tab and cutting a ribbon, hey, I'm under siege, because I was showing him what we must open, you know, the ring road, real stuff, like what we are doing here. This is real stuff. So we are hard at work and we're delivering. And those tabs, it was not one, there are many tabs that Mahlobo was opening. It's just that he showed one. And the way he was showing it, it was like, hey, it's victory, Mar. There's one tab in front. It reminded me a story of Zimbabwe when people were cutting a ribbon for a bin, a rubbish bin, during elections campaign. So we shouldn't do such things, you know. When we deliver, it must be clear what we're delivering, so that everybody can see the work that we're doing. So if it is 95 tabs, we must show that there are 95 taps that were boreholes that were delivered there, which is a very important work. But it became a joke, you know, the way we projected it. And yet there was significant work that has been done in that village. Many taps were delivered. So like now, driver's license is a very important service delivery matter, and we are dealing with that. So I want Makosini Msibi to explain the details of the enrollment and the people you see coming here in droves, numbers. What are they, and all of that, and then we will go for a demonstration inside of the smart enrollment we are talking about.
Thank you, Minister. The issue of the smart enrollment, as the Minister has said, is replacing what we know as the LCUs. The smart enrollment has features that are integrated with Home Affairs. How the smart enrollment works, let me pause for a moment and take you back. For you to renew your driver's license, we require you to have currently the ID photos, 2 of them, to fill the form and have the copy of your ID license. But with the smart enrollment, we only need your finger. When you punch your finger, it calls the photo that you first had when you took your ID at Home Affairs. And we will then immediately take the photo into it automatically, into the driver's license card. That then takes away, you will know that when you're coming for a driver's license, you will pay plus or minus 80 rands or 120 for the 2 photos. We have cut that amount of that you normally pay for photos, because the machine itself produces the photos on its own. But what is also important in terms of the smart enrollment is the question of time. You can time when you come in here. Anybody who has an appointment does not stay more than 20 minutes here. So you can plan your day to come at a particular time. If we say 11 o'clock, you time your time. By 20 past 11, you need to be out here, because that's the standard service level agreement that we have got into. So you'll see that people that are getting here are people that have the appointments. The people that are getting in here that are queuing are the people who did not make appointments, but we are not turning them away. We service them if they have come to a DLTC in that number. But the second issue, it's also the card collection. There are 3 doors. First is the door that relates to the people that have booked. The second door relates to the people who are what we call card collection, as well as those that have not booked for the slot. Also, in the card collection, you are not supposed to spend more than 15 minutes to collect your card. So we're beginning to deal with all those times to ensure that we're more efficient in terms of those issues. This smart enrollment tests your eyes automatically and check whether you are a person that's supposed to be on our road. If you are not supposed to, we'll then have to refer you to an optometrist with a certificate that will then change the situation or the condition on your driver's license to drive with glasses or with lenses. And if you have what normally it's called code 14 or code 10, if your eyes are no longer working, we devalue your license from code 14 to code 8, but we have a choice that if my eyes are not working well, please change the status of my license to code 8, or I will go to an optometrist to put glasses, because we are dealing with the issue of the ability of the eyes on the roads. That's what the smart enrollment is. Thank you. If you see here on my right-hand side, and this is not what we normally deal with. On daily basis, we are dealing with a queue that lives up to that entry. Those are most of them are taxi drivers and taxi owners who have not renewed. Some of them have not been renewing since 2018. But we have now made a campaign for people to come and renew. And they are coming in their droves from all provinces. This week, Minister, we have been dealing with people from KZN, Mpumalanga, Limpopo, because of the issue that we are assisting them without the appointments. So if you can visit us even at 9 o'clock, like yesterday in Waterfall, we closed at 11 o'clock, though we closed at 9, because there were queues that were too long. We don't allow people to go home without being serviced. So we close at 9, but we don't close if there are still people on the line.
Just to clarify, the efficiency of smart enrollment, it's also evident in the time that it takes us to receive the information at the DLCA and produce the driver's license card. So the days are going to reduce, because once you've done the application here, the application lands with us at DLCA, we're ready to print your driver's license. So that's the efficiency that's there. We've had issues where we've had rejections of driver's license applications due to a number of reasons, but primarily being load shedding. When there's a load shedding, the information does not get to us in time, and it needs to load when there's power. But with smart enrollment, when the DG is done with his application today, it lands with us. We are tomorrow printing the driver's license, obviously given the batches that we do daily. So it's an innovation that we welcome. We're very happy with the innovation, because it will assist in ensuring that we run a seamless process in ensuring that everyone has their driver's license short time. Thank you.
Colleagues, there's another round of questions. I see hands.
Thank you. Slinda Lomasegan, eNCA. I noticed in the statement the minister said that the issue is the fact that people have infringements, so they're not going to renew. So how do we then get rid of the infringements? I had one more, but I'm sorry. Lokanya again from EWN. Minister, just wanted to find out if you're able to the cost implication of decommissioning the old system into the new licenses. How much is that going to cost? The new technology of that, how much is that going to cost? And are any of those costs then going to be passed down to the motorists themselves? Is it going to cost more to renew your license, or anything of the sort? Thank you.
Raymond from Netbank. I just want to get clarity on the 1.2 million that still needs to renew. Is those drivers that falls between the grace period in the pandemic? And then we're going to get an update regarding e-tolls. And Minister, what's your response regarding update from sport channels, which says that we don't need to renew our driver's licenses?
Hello, Mr. Minister. Roy Kane from MoneyWeb. If you could just clarify the position with regard to the new driver's license and incorporating the ID into that. I know you mentioned that it's going to home fairs. I'm not sure from what you had to say whether a decision has been made or whether it's in the hands of Home Affairs now. And then also if you could just clarify what measures are going to be taken to encourage motorists with the 1.2 million motorists with the expired driver's license to actually come and renew. I don't know if you can have an enforcement campaign or what you're going to be doing, but you said you're upping the ante. What do you mean by that? Thank you.
Let me deal with the first question and the last question in terms of the infringements that are in there. As you see people coming up in droves, we are not writing off the infringements. If you have an infringement, we are ensuring that you are paying. And what the minister has been saying, on the basis that we are going to up the ante, we are going to unleash the law enforcement in terms of all those that have infringements. And what people are coming forward with are then the suggestions that I have an infringement, but allow me to pay in installments. Let me negotiate. So that window has opened and made people to come forward on their own. In fact, you could have run a campaign called Ziveze with the issue of the infringements, and that's what we are going to get into, because everybody is willing, acknowledges that I have infringements, I'm prepared to pay, but allow me to stagger the payments in terms of the infringements. Hence, you see all of them coming forth. You can ask them, they will tell you that we all very prepared to pay if we are staggering the infringements. I think I've answered that question. But the question that then begins to deal with the issue of the 1.2. The 1.2 has nothing to do in terms of the grace period that came into the fore as a consequence of the Disaster Management Act. These are people, as I've indicated, some of the people that have been renewing have not been renewing as far back as 2018. So COVID was not there in 2018. Those were the people who were afraid that we are going to arrest them when they come and renew their driver's license. So this grace period that of the negotiations has allowed them to come forward, and they're taking advantage there too. Thank you.
The e-tolls will deal with that by October MTPBS, and that is what I've reported to you. The Minister of Finance and myself, Minister of Transport, we have been dealing with the issue, and I can tell you right now that the conclusion is there. Next week we start the Cabinet Lekgotla. Before or at MTPBS, we'll make the big announcement about the e-tolls. So, Bambelela Mfondi, just hold on. We are there with the decision about the e-tolls. AfriForum, I don't know what they are doing in court, but they like court, so it's fine. But don't follow them, please, because I've explained to you today that I'm reviewing the five years. I'm reviewing it, and I'm going to Cabinet. When Cabinet endorses 8 or 10 years, I'll come back and give you a report. So my submission is on the way to Cabinet to approve. I've received the research report from RTMC. I've got the report, which have said that the minister review. I've gone to the MECs of the provinces. They've also agreed with me about the review. So the final step is Cabinet, and then we'll change the 5-year period. We have looked at different countries in terms of that report. Some of the things that have been said in public about the lifespan and all of that, from a research point of view, have been found to be untruthful when we do the research. So we are improving our driver's license regime. Now, with the bringing in of the new card, that will also help us a great deal. The money is budgeted for in terms of the money that is available to the DLCA for the new card, so it's not going to be eating on the pockets of the motorists. So that's what I can tell you. Cabinet have approved the new driver's license with a proviso that we rework on the budget part of it in terms of the new processes we are embarking upon. So the financial part of it, our team in terms of the Director General and the DLCA are working on that, but we do have money for the new driver's license. So we just have to align our issues from the budgetary point of view, and then report back to Cabinet. But it will definitely not eat in your pocket. You have given us a lot over the years. So in terms of the new card, we are not looking at taxing people to upgrade. So that I can give you that particular assurance. So all in all, infringements will not stop. You break the law in terms of the driver's license and all of that, you will face the law on the streets. When we say up in the ante, it's like a slogan, but it means law enforcement will no longer now use some COVID-19 and all of that, so you will be dealt with on the road. So it is important for people to come forward, renew their driver's license. So today we are going to show you the smart enrollment. There's a lot of things that we are doing in terms of the driver's license. You will know some of these issues are before Parliament in terms of the amendment of the National Land Transport Act when it comes to drink and drive. Well, also regulating the driver's license schools. As you know, that driver's license schools are not regulated. The bill, the president returned to Parliament, and we are dealing with that. And I hope before end of the year and before Parliament rise, we will have dealt with that particular bill amendment back to the president, and probably that been signed and done and dusted. So we are very much on track in terms of our work, in terms of the driver's license regime in the Republic of South Africa. Very exciting things are coming up, including the new driver's license that we are going to be implementing in the next month, starting from October. It will take us up until 2029 to complete the entire process. And then we hope to start with, not hope, we will be starting with the processes of that driver's license card before the end of the year. So e-tolls, we are coming to you by October. I think that is the period that we'll be able to come back to. And I'm sure you are hoping that we scrap. Now, for every scrap, there's always another thing that comes up and all of that. But don't say I said the e-tolls will be scrapped. Wait for me to come back with the Minister Kotongwana.
Thank you very much, Minister. Thank you very much, colleagues, for joining us this morning. I'd just like to give final thanks to the Advocate CB and the CEO of the Road Traffic Management Corporation, Acting DG, Mr. Mwakamakai, and the Acting Head of the Driver's License Card, Mr. Kagisho Khweshimang. And lastly, thank you, colleagues in the media, for joining us this morning. As was said by Minister, we will now be taking you on a brief tour, basically demonstrating the smart enrollment system. Due to the space constraints inside the venue, I'd just like to request that we do prioritize our colleagues with the cameras, and I'll now be handing over to the very capable hands of the CEO of the RTMC, who will then be leading us on this brief tour. Thank you very much, CEO. Colleagues, you can come with me, and then it's now.
Handheld, né? Yeah, erna ke handheld. I'm coming.
The DG will first everybody registers here and is given this form, which the DG has already filled. Now you'll see that we take the time here, because the time is what we evaluate our efficiency that are inside. Let's go. Good morning, everybody. Well, Minister, these are our clients. They have booked. We can check. I think everybody's here for 11 or 11, half past 11. So we can check the time. It's 11:15. We'll serve everybody for them. So their time is half past 11, but by 20 to 12 they'll be out here. So this is the floor manager of the DNTC, who's assisting everybody, talking to the clients, ensure that they have the forms correctly filled, produce the copies,